Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today, I thought would be a good day to talk about anxiety in the workplace. I'm gonna say it again and you guys are gonna be sick of me for saying this. I have anxiety and I can have a sometimes highly stressful job. To me anyways, to other people it probably isn't stressful, but for someone like me who takes everything personally and requires everything to be perfect, I can find it a little bit stressful. And because I find it stressful, it can actually increase my anxiety, and because I have anxiety, it makes the stress worse. It's a really vicious cycle, and I've had to kind of come up with some ways to break out of that cycle while I'm at work, because having a panic attack at work is not fun. So I thought I would share with you my sort of techniques or ways I've been coping with my anxiety while at work. My first thing, or my first tip, I don't know what to call these. My first tip would be to try and find a safe zone in your work. For me, I have a safe zone in my work. It's a space that everybody knows about, but nobody knows that it's my safe space. It's not a space that's used very often, and it's sort of a space that I can go when I feel like I just need a minute to recollect my thoughts, take a few deep breaths. It's just a safe, I just go there. Beeline to that spot when I'm feeling overly anxious or overly sensitive, and I just need a minute alone. If you don't have an office that you can close the door and take that time to yourself, I would recommend trying to find someplace in your office or in your work that you can go where you might be able to get a few minutes alone. Some popular ones I think are things like an unfamiliar washroom, so a washroom that isn't used very often, hallway that doesn't receive a lot of traffic. I know I had a coworker at a past job who used to use the banquet beer fridge as a place to hide out sometimes because nobody would bother her in there, and she said the cold helped calm her down. My second sort of tip is to develop your calming technique arsenal. So come up with some quick ways that you know work to calm you down. For me, it's things like, for some reason, counting to 8 over and over and over again in my brain calms me down. I don't know what it is about the number 8. I think it calms me down. So if I start to feel like I'm getting very emotional and I'm starting to feel really anxious, all I have to do is count to 8. And I'll just go faster and faster and faster until I feel calm. Another technique that I use a lot, this is really great if you're sitting at your desk and you're kind of like just overwhelmed with the amount of work you're doing, is to count backwards from 100. So just stop what you're doing and start counting backwards from 100 in your head. And if you find that too easy, like if you find that you can just do that and you can still keep working, try doing it in another language. So once I got really good at counting backwards from 100 in English, I moved on to French. And then I started counting in Spanish. And then eventually all those kind of got pretty easy and things didn't require me to think a lot about. So I started saying the alphabet backwards in my head. Think about something that requires you to stop and think. Something that requires almost your full attention on it. Saying the alphabet backwards is difficult, okay? You have to really think, you have to go forwards, and then you have to go back. Focus on something that requires your full attention, even if it's just for 2 minutes. That will really help snap you out of it and really help refocus, and then after you're done, you'll notice that you'll be a lot calmer, you'll be able to think a little bit more clearly. It's almost like a brain break is what you're giving yourself in that moment. Finally, my last tip for dealing with some anxiety while you're at work is to be honest. If you feel comfortable, if you feel safe enough, be honest with your coworkers that you have anxiety or that you are struggling or you're feeling just overly overwhelmed and stressed out and that you might need some help. Telling people how you are doing and how you are feeling is not a bad thing. It is not something to be ashamed about, and it's something that should be normalized. If you are having feelings of anxiety, if you are feeling overly stressed out, I would highly recommend that you find someone at your work that you trust to tell. So just be honest with your coworkers if you feel comfortable. If you don't, be honest with yourself. You need to know your limits and you need to respect those limits. Be honest with yourself when you are not feeling 100%. Be honest with yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed, and be honest when it's too much and you can't do it anymore by yourself. So be honest with yourself, and if you can, with your coworkers and your teammates. It'll help like 110%. I think that's everything. I think that's all I'm doing right now to help fight back against anxiety while I'm at work. I would love to know your tips and tricks about how you deal with anxiety or stress or feeling overwhelmed while you are at work. Definitely leave them down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to upload a lot more, and it means a lot to me when you do subscribe. And don't forget to like the video if you did, and maybe give it a share. And I'm gonna go now, and I'll see you again very soon.